Breaking now, leaders of the Democratic Party of Georgia are deciding who will replace the late Congressman John Lewis on the November ballot. Lewis, a warrior of the civil rights movement and longtime U.S. Congressman, died Friday at the age of 80 following a 6-month battle with pancreatic cancer. He's represented Georgia's 5th district, which is rooted in Atlanta for many, many years. Now, Democratic leaders must choose someone to run in his place. And within the last 2 hours, the nominating committee narrowed the list of potential candidates from 131 applicants to 5 names. They are State Representative Park Cannon, Atlanta City Council member Andre Dickens, Robert Franklin, the former president of Morehouse College, State Senator Nikema Williams, who is also the State Democratic Party chairperson and has recused herself from today's meeting, and Reverend James Major Woodall, president of the Georgia NAACP. The executive committee is meeting right now, and we will have more on their decision online and on 11 Alive News starting at 5 p.m.